Rockstar can do no wrong. I mean, seriously, they can't. I double dog dare you to name one bad Rockstar game. Go ahead. I can wait. Come on. See? You can. They are that one-of-a-kind team that succeeds in everything they do. Whether it's crafting an ode to teenage mischief with Bully, giving the middle finger to generic, boring shooters with Max Payne, creating one of the very few great movie-licensed games with The Warriors, or giving a huge adrenaline shot to a dying genre with Red Dead Redemption. These guys experiment time and time again and are always triumphant. And after 5 years, they have finally returned to the series that started it all. To say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is a great game is an enormous understatement. This is an extraordinary game that puts most games to shame by providing an overwhelming amount of stuff to do and see for a mere $60. If they had released this with a price tag of $150 or more, I'd completely understand, because it's easily worth that. This is Rockstar's best game yet, and one of the very best games I have ever had the pleasure of playing. On sort of a downside, this game is so fucking awesome that I can't even bring myself to play for San Andreas or Vice City for at least a while. This game is just so much better than all of those. If you've been living under a rock for the past year, I'll briefly sum up the plot of GTA 5. Unlike previous games, this entry features 3 main antagonists. Michael, a retired bank robber who lives out his glory days by sitting on his fat ass on the couch and watching gangster movies. He's incredibly wealthy, but utterly miserable thanks to his really shitty, dysfunctional, selfish family. Then there's Franklin, a street hustler who desires to leave the projects and venture into something better. And then there's Trevor. Trevor is neurotic, paranoid, self-destructive, and completely fucking psychotic. And certain circumstances force these 3 characters to interact with one another and form an uneasy alliance. And I'll come right out and say it. From the very moment they announced multiple protagonists, I was not on board with it. At all. I was worried that the narrative would turn into a complete clusterfuck, and the gameplay would be awkward trying to juggle 3 playable characters. But I'm a fucking idiot. I shouldn't have doubted Rockstar. As soon as I read Game Informer's cover story of GTA 5 and learned how they plan to juggle and utilize the 3 perspectives, my fears were pretty much put to rest. I mean, the game makes switching between these characters a breeze, and it provides another layer of skill, replayability, and fun to the campaign and game overall. In true Rockstar fashion, they take it another step further. They create the very convincing illusion that these characters have lives of their own when you're not playing them. If you get bored with one character, you could always pop in on another character and see what they're up to. Sometimes what you find them doing in your absence will take you completely by surprise. Unfortunately, these activities that you come upon them doing tend to repeat, but there's enough variety to make it a great addition to the series. They also have their own unique strengths, special skill, and missions. Another benefit of this character switching mechanic is that it makes the campaign replayable multiple times and never boring. It's always a fresh perspective on what's going on. And the more I play this game, the more I realize that having these 3 guys be the playable characters was the best idea they could have gone with. With this being such an enormous world, and I mean fucking-enormous, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor represent the 3 sides to this world. Michael is the rich, wealthy celebutant side. Franklin is the projects and really would fit right in San Andreas' version of Los Santos. And Trevor represents the huge desert crawling with meth heads, hillbilly, and wildlife. These personalities clash in a really compelling way thanks to the brilliant writing and stunning voice work. And I've heard a lot of complaints that these characters are detestable and detract from the overall experience of the game. Whereas previous GTA antagonists, yeah, they did shitty things, but they were anti-heroes, and they were doing them for a morally respectable reason. I disagree with it being a detriment to the overall experience, but I definitely will not deny that these are wretched, morally dubious individuals, especially Trevor. But honestly, and I'm going to sound like a complete psychopath saying this, I actually sort of liked these guys. Yes, even Trevor. Even though these guys, especially Trevor, say and do some of the most outrageous, disturbing things I've ever witnessed in a video game. Especially Trevor. Trevor is the platinum standard for pitch black comedy. This story is a platinum standard for pitch black comedy. All of this is done with a really dark, tongue-in-cheek sense of humor that's become a GTA signature. And I almost found myself always giggling at something going on, either in the foreground or the background, or both. Ferocious, merciless satire has never been funnier or more painfully true. And as someone who lives in South Cali, I have to applaud Rockstar for their dead-on accuracy in portraying our culture. I mean, even one of my friends actually got angry at the game for being so authentic in its portrayal of the projects. A common complaint I've heard about this series is that you're always somebody's errand boy or bitch. Most missions in past games consist of someone telling you what to do, where to go, kill this guy, go here, do this. And I understand where this complaint is coming from. Thankfully, 5 fixes this issue as well. Yeah, the errand boy missions are still there, but for the most part, these characters are controlling and determining what they should and shouldn't do. As for the errand boy missions, they're still a fucking blast. But it's like eating a small portion of vegetables to get to the big delicious cake. And the big delicious cake is the new heist missions. These multi-structured missions of increasing complexity and danger are easily the best parts of the story. They require precise planning and resource gathering, and the results are riveting. I mean, anything can happen. And poor planning can lead to poor execution. However, pulling off very successful heists feels richly satisfying. You feel like a fucking badass. And if I have anything bad to say about this, it's that I wish there were a lot more of them. 6 heists just aren't enough. And I hope Rockstar adds more heist-esque side activities with later patches and DLC. And speaking of side activities, this game has a shitload of them. After finishing the campaign, there are still well over 2 days worth of side missions and multiple activities. My personal favorite from tennis, probably because I played it during most of middle school and early high school. And I'll go so far as to say GTA 5 has the best tennis gameplay to date. The tennis gameplay in this is better than every tennis center game I've ever played. Just stunning. And one thing I think a lot of reviewers are overlooking is the music. I mean, the radio stations have been a GTA staple since the very beginning and help flesh out the atmosphere of the setting. As with everything else, Rockstar has outdone themselves. There are a grand total of 17 radio stations, including 2 talk radio stations. And the genres range from reggae, pop, gangster rap, punk, Mexican electronica, and so much more. I wish they had included an old school East Coast hip hop station like the one in San Andreas and an LA underground metal one. I know there's plenty of underground metal in LA, So that would have been cool to see as a radio station. And if I were to pick a favorite addition of mine to the series, it would definitely be the radio wheel. Instead of having to go through all the stations one at a time in previous games, all you have to do now is hold down left on the D-pad and scroll through on the PS3 and scroll through a wheel listing all the radio stations. I mean, this saves a ton of time, and as an added bonus, it now lets you see what song is currently playing on every radio station. I've wanted that for a long time, and I'm so happy they finally included that. And this is the first GTA game that uses an original score, and it's pretty damn good. I mean, guys like DJ Shadow, The Alchemist, Oh No, and more were brought in to just score the game. And while admittedly none of the tracks will get stuck in your head, it's a very good score that contributes to the game's atmosphere. And several artists came in and recorded new songs for the game, and most of them fit the game perfectly. I mean, my favorites are Tyler the Creator's Garbage and Oh No's Welcome to Los Santos. I mean, two great songs you guys should definitely check out. And for all the limitations of this current gen's hardware, this game looks better than most next-gen games. It's a feat of commitment that this game can be this damn big and look this good and run so smoothly. I mean, sure, there's the occasional pop-in texture and bug, but it's definitely nowhere near as bad as I've seen with some open-world games. Bethesda. Dramatic improvements have also been made to the gameplay as well. Shooting feels much better, and it's clear that they got inspiration from Max Payne 3's shooting mechanic. And for certain characters, there's also a slow down bullet time, like in Max Payne. That feels great as well. My one complaint about the shooting, though, I wish the targeting reticle was a bit more defined. It's a little hard to see, and if you go into like the ammunition shooting ranges, you'll know what I mean, because the targeting reticle is very tiny and it's kind of hard to see. And driving is also much more fun now. Cars no longer feel like huge slabs of rock that are magnetized to the road, like in GTA 4. Cars have actual weight and gravity to them now, and are a blast to drive. I mean, planes and helicopters, unfortunately, are a different story. While the controls for them have definitely improved since San Andreas and 4, they still feel too wobbly and cumbersome. And it's definitely a disappointment considering how frequently you have to use them. But overall, with nearly unlimited replayability and a staggering amount of content, which it's going to keep adding more and more, Rockstar has delivered the goods in spades once again. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a must-own for anybody even remotely interested in gaming. And like with a lot of my all-time favorites, this is a game I can definitely see myself still playing 15 years down the road. I mean, it's that fucking good. This is one of the funnest, funniest, most relevant, most addicting, and most rewarding games ever made. And that's just Grand Theft Auto 5. When they finally patch up Grand Theft Auto Online to a consistently playable level, this game will become maybe the single greatest value ever. I feel guilty paying only $60 for this game. It's that amazing. I mean, let me give my standing ovation to Rockstar. I mean, oh my god. Oh, wow. I'm still in awe that a game this amazing even exists. I mean, seriously, guys, if you even have like some doubts about whether you would enjoy this or not, don't worry. Go out and buy this. You will enjoy this game a lot. Trust me. Anyway, thank you for watching. And if you like what you see, subscribe. And as always, have a good one. And now I'm going to slink back into my man cave and play some more Grand Theft Auto 5.